September 24. 366. Liberius, Pope, died. He subscribed, very reluctantly, the condemnation of Athanasius. 867. Michael III the Drunkard, Emperor of Rome, assassinated. His minority was governed by his mother, a woman of great ability. But on assuming the reins of government, his profligate conduct led to his death. 1143. Innocent II, Pope, died. He was elected to the office in 1130, but excluded by a rival for several years. 1332. John Baliol crowned King of Scotland at Scone, by the Bishop of Dunkeld. 1404. William of Wykeham, Bishop of Winchester, died. He rose from obscurity, and before his death appropriated the large possessions which he had acquired to endow two new colleges, New College Oxford, and Winchester. 1427. Lady Ravensworth devised to her children the following things: I will yet my son Robert Bishop of London have a sauter covered with red velvet. My doghter Margory a primer covered in rede, etc., etc. 1635. Anthony Bruni, an Italian poet, died. 1650. Charles de Valois, Duc d'Angoulême, died. A French militaire. 1664. Fort Orange, now Albany, surrendered to the English under Colonel Cartwright. The title of Jeremiah van Rensselaer to the manor of Rensselaer was confirmed. 1664. The first convention was held in Albany between the English and the Iroquois, who were now the predominant race, holding sway over every savage nation. The Iroquois continued the allies of the English until the Revolution. 1680. Samuel Butler, an English poet, died. Author of Hudibras. 1693. Bayonets first used at the battle near Turin unloaded muskets, which has been practiced ever since. In 1620 they were first constructed at Bayonne. Hence the name. 1722. James Watson, author of the History of Printing in Scotland, died at Edinburgh. 1757. Aaron Burr, president of New Jersey College, died. He was an able divine and an accomplished scholar. 1793. Foundation laid of the iron bridge over the River Ware, at Sunderland, England. It was finished in 1796. 1803. Berbice, a Dutch colony in Guyana, celebrated for its fine coffee, surrendered to the British. 1805. William Burn, a distinguished British landscape engraver, died. 1811. French under General Marmont forced Wellington to raise the siege of Ciudad Rodrigo in Spain. 1816. Eusebius Valli, an eminent Italian physician, died a martyr to science. He visited Smyrna and Constantinople to make observations on the plague, and the West Indies to study the nature of the yellow fever. In both instances he voluntarily subjected himself to the disease, and in the latter made a fatal experiment, in exposing himself to the infection with a dead body, so that in 3 days the scene closed upon him in death. 1821. The Hetrists, a Greek brotherhood, extirpated. On the breaking out of the Greek Revolution they hastened from all parts of Europe and formed a legion of heroes. The last band of them were attacked and defeated at the monastery of Sek, where their leader Jerdaki, being wounded, and to escape falling into the hands of the Turks, set fire to the monastery, and perished in the conflagration. 1825. Peter Paul Dubry died, an eminent professor of Greek and Latin, who succeeded Porson at Cambridge, and was one of the most finished classical scholars in Europe. 1831. Mount Auburn, a retired and ornamental place of sepulture about 4 miles from the city of Boston and containing about 50 acres, was publicly dedicated. The first of the kind in the United States. 1835. John Pitt, Earl of Chatham, died. He was the eldest son of the great Earl of Chatham and brother of the Prime Minister. As he left no heir, the peerage became extinct. 1839. Robert Wykeham, a distinguished American statesman and orator, died. 1841. Mr. Brooke, an enterprising Englishman, became Raja, or Governor, of Sarawak, the first footing obtained by the English on the island of Borneo, it is believed. 1842. Mrs. Elizabeth Aylett, daughter of the celebrated Patrick Henry, died at King William County, Virginia. 1847. William Popham, an officer of the Revolution, died in New York, aged 95. 1847. Col. David Folsom, a chief of the Choctaws, died. 1852. General Castanos, Duke of Baliol, died, aged 95. He was the companion in arms of Wellington and one of the most conspicuous and heroic of the Spanish commanders in war against Napoleon, called the War of Independence. 1852. Benjamin Thompson, a Massachusetts congressman, died at Charlestown, aged 75. He held many responsible offices, possessed great business talent, and his services were especially valuable at Washington on the Committee of Military Affairs, during the Mexican War. 1854. George Leith Russell, an eminent English physician and surgeon, died in London, of cholera, aged 57. He wrote upon typhus fever, cholera, and the effects of poisons.